So excited for Thursday night once again. Got some real energy that we're riding here after Star Wars Celebration and feeling like gonna crash from it pretty soon, but still got that last little ounce of energy here. The fun of having met these folks in person and now finally getting to be reunited with them again. Love getting to hang out with the Legends Lookback crew, a little bit of a different crew tonight, and very excited to share that tomorrow I am headed on a road trip back to my hometown where I grew up. My dad a couple years ago changed houses. How do you say that? Moved, I guess, is the normal way people say that. I'm not normal, so I don't know how to say it. My dad moved and put a lot of my childhood things that I didn't take with me into storage. Tomorrow, I am going into that storage unit and nothing can stop me. And I'm going in search of my last few Star Wars things that have not yet made their way into my collection. Chiefly, I have this Darth Vader helmet that I bought at a yard sale that does the whole thing that the back of it snaps on, just like
Okay.
Sebastian Shaw's does in Return of the Jedi. And it has the chest piece that attaches with a voice changer.
Oh, okay.
And I'm feeling like this thing is going to go really good on my shelf. You know what I'm talking about, Freddie?
I know exactly what you're talking
These
about.
things?
This might be, let's see, like 2000, maybe 2000, early 2000s or late
Yeah.
1990s.
Yeah. I mean, it was technically my
Yeah.
brother's, but let's be honest. I'm the real Star Wars fan here. So I'm sure I played with it more than he did. Mostly what I would do is put it on and then I would hold a lightsaber and then he would wallop me with those big Hulk hands. What I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it has me wondering, do you guys have one item from your childhood Star Wars collection that has since disappeared to the sands of time that you wonder maybe somewhere it's out there, but you're pretty sure it's just somehow gone? Y'all have collectibles like these?
Oh yeah. I mean, okay, this is definitely gonna age me a little bit, but
Yeah, Emma's like a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
3 years out of childhood.
I was going to
here,
say
so.
you're like 12 years younger than the rest of us. So yes, please age yourself.
yes. So it is a Lego set from the Clone Wars. And it is super valuable now. It's like the Jedi transport ship or something like that. And it's got an Ahsoka
Cool.
minifigure, like the OG Clone Wars minifigures, super stylized.
I'm drooling.
And I sold it when I was little because I was
man.
I'm done with Star Wars. I'll never like it again. Meanwhile, look around me, people. I have a freaking tattoo on my wrist now. What was I thinking?
The ultimate Star Wars collectible. You'll never sell that thing.
No, never. But yeah, I mean, I will regret. I remember very clearly selling all of my Star Wars possessions when I was maybe 10 between 10 and 12. Just sold it all because I was like,
That reminds me of
never gonna like this again.
giving away my 90s Pokemon cards. Ugh. Ah,
Ooh,
hurts.
that hurts.
Ouch.
Hurts.
I saved one. I saved the Dark Charizard. So that one's
Oh,
good.
nice.
All right, Tyler, what's your Legends, your Star Wars Holy Grail that's slipped through the fingers?
Okay, well, if you explain it that way, this fits perfectly. And Emma, I told you this story at Celebration. I grew up with the Power of the Force, Legacy of the Power of the Force, the red and orange background figures. And at that time, the big steroided out Luke Skywalker. I had
Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han, and Chewie, all of them roided out.
I had the Leia, and it was unopened. I was playing with. I took everything else out of the wrapper, and I was playing with them, and I left the Leia in my closet because that was apparently that was much rarer at the time. I don't know where I was. I don't know if I was at a friend's house or whatever. Fast forward to the end of the story. Apparently my brother went into my closet, saw the figure, went to my dad and said, "Dad, can I open this?" My dad, not being a collector at all, was like, "Sure, go ahead."
This story hurts my feelings.
I come home and she's opened. And that was the last I attempted to collect anything until all these books and
Dude.
Funkos and Black Series and pins.
Yeah, we should have
And
all wore like black suits for this, like a Star Wars funeral. This is
Yeah.
making me sad. Yeah, this was unintended. Absolutely didn't know it would get this emotional. Oh, I just
God.
remembered another one I lost. I had like the I don't know if it was Luke or Han in the stormtrooper armor, from A New
Oh,
Hope
yeah,
when
yeah.
they infiltrate and so I get this walking carpet out of my way, like all that. And so one of my cousins gave it to me and he just died last year. And so it's like sentimental. I got to find this thing, man. I'm hoping I'm hoping it's in that storage locker. What you got, Freddie? I know you got something.
Thankfully my parents had the foresight to let me keep everything, and I have
Thank goodness.
Boot him off this call.
I have a majority of everything, all the way down to the very first toy that I ever got was in my cubby in preschool, and I took it, and it was the Imperial Gunner,
Nice.
with his black mask.
Mhm.
I still have that on a parachute. It was like a Vietnam or World War II parachute. They used to drop like little munitions down in. I used to throw them everywhere.
Like Sid from Toy Story.
Oh my God.
Definitely have the Kenner at and stuff like that. But there's one toy that I remember playing with as a kid, and to this day, when I visit my grandma, one of my uncles had a 1977 70-something R2D2 remote control, like original R2 that dropped with like the original
cool.
toys, right?
That's
Very
awesome.
old toy. And I remember playing with that and thinking, I'm taking this one day. And I never did take that one day.
Wait, we're gonna have a heist?
We're having a heist.
Yes. Now that's
You
the
win.
heist that I'm here for. Yeah.
But
Ocean's
yeah,
11.
that's the one I
11 people
regret
from Utini
not,
trying to find
having.
Freddy's cousin's R2D2.
Yep, there you go. Yep.
Just
Wanna
like
be
ask
Brad
him
Pitt.
like when he passes, like, may I have this? Like
Please, I want to be in your will.
yes.
Well, there is a request in the chat that if I find the Darth Vader helmet, that I have to wear it on the show.
Oh, I think
And
that's a
I
must.
promise I will start one of these episodes of Legends Look Back wearing the helmet if I can indeed find it. And I'm very hopeful.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
you need to find it, but yeah, you're gonna have to wait until I think January when I get the new Black Series Darth Vader helmet,
Oh.
and we can
Compare
both
'em.
show off. We can show off what was and what they are now.
Oh, I can guarantee that the Black Series is nicer. I mean,
Oh,
this
no, that's
thing,
the point.
like I said,
But
my
it's
little
just to
brother
see-
beat the mess out of me with this thing on. It's all scuffed up. Yeah, there ain't no way that it
I mean,
looks good.
but that's a sign of love, though.
Yeah, the fact that he beat the snot out of me
No.
in his
No,
Hulk
that-
hands, sure,
no,
absolutely.
that your
Love.
toy from your childhood has a lot of wear. That shows that it was loved.
Yeah, and also that I paid $4 for it at a garage sale. Well, I will, of course, start the show whenever I've got it, if I find it. Another future episode, but not next week because we're not going to have a live show. But for tonight, I don't have it, but we're going to start the show anyway. So, Emma, let's do the thing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Look Back, proudly part of the Utini Podcast Network. This is the Star Wars Books podcast for people whose only knowledge of video games extends exclusively to the demo discs obtained at Pizza Hut. You know what I'm talking about, where we celebrate our rich EU history as well as dive into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and I'm joined by my legendary co-host tonight, the master of Terras Kasi himself, Freddie C.
Hi guys. So first of all, we're gonna plan a heist, and I've been thinking of like, if we get caught, if we do something, what kind of curse words could we use? And I'm thinking, Palpatine's cheeks is a good one.
There's another one like Dark Bones or his Black
Yeah,
Bones by the
his
Emperor's
Black Bones.
Black Bones. There it is.
Yep. Man, this is as rough as Sabayat's abs. If something gets really tough. This safe is as hard as crack as Sabayat's abs. There you go. So books in the works, it seems.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll get to work on it for sure. We'll put somebody on it. One of the new guys, JG, or yeah, the other guy, Ryan. I don't even know who that is. You know who I do know? Tyler Reganti, who I am proud to report does not snore because we had to share a bedroom for 5 days. How are you, Tyler?
I am also proud to report that you also do not snore because we got to know as much as we got to know everybody while we were out in at Celebration. You and I got that extra level of bonding there as we bunked together. So yeah, it was a fun time.
It really was. At one point, Tyler and I had to plan how to convince Freddie to let us go to sleep so that he could watch Obi-Wan another time. It was the night of the premiere, and we failed, and Freddie got to watch the show. And
the VIPs got to go see it live with our buddies, Ewan and Hayden.
That's right.
And then these guys decided they wanted to come in later and be like, "Hey, have y'all watched this new show called Kenobi yet? We want to watch it." And we were like, "We've been up for like 13, 14 hours. We really want to go to bed."
I'm telling you, the look in Freddie's eyes when I tried to ask him to let us go to sleep, I have never seen him so firm in 3.5 years of podcasting together. It was like, just this one time, I'm going to keep you up and we're going to watch the show. Meanwhile, Oz is over there grinning with a wicked grin. He's so excited to get to watch this. He's probably drunk off his rocker at that point in the night. Well, you know who is not drunk off her rocker is the wicked Mana herself, Emma Park. How are you, Emma?
Hello, I'm alive. I'm alive. That's all that matters. I'm a bit exhausted. Tyler, sorry I was so delayed on you because y'all, I built all of Legends Lookback from scratch last night, and I did not have your one cam, so I was like, gotta get it. Anyways, yeah, it's fun to be back. Always fun to hang out with you guys, and also super strange that we're having like a mini crossover episode right now.
We're invading. We're totally invading.
Yeah, it's
slowly,
not a crossover.
One by one,
it's an invasion. That's right. Just like the Yuuzhan Vong, we've been invaded by the Cosmic Force. Of course, Tyler and Emma, for our audio listeners, or for those who somehow have been hiding under a rock, maybe they've been off in like exile, Tatooine, Dagobah. It doesn't really matter. They, of course, host our weekly comics show, which I'm very excited to catch up on tomorrow on my 3.5-hour drive back home. Oh, I'm gonna love that. But I will legitimately love listening to y'all. I am also excited to have Tyler on the show tonight. Of course, Emma running the show for us, very important. Also happy to have Tyler here on the show to give us an update on our very special, gloating here that he's finally tied it up. We are going to give a brief update on the Legends race to the finish. Tyler, take it away.
So as I just held up, I've read 5 so far, and my dedication to this competition and our audience and our community. Instead, I have Shadows of the Sith over there taunting me. If you tuned into our show last night, I was saying how much it taunted me, but I resisted, and instead I have picked up Revan to continue reading a Legends book. So I am working on book number 6. So Jared, are we doing this little special okay.
What we're going to do right now is I've given Tyler a 1-minute timer. He has 1 minute to talk about each of these books, a 1-minute review of each of the books he has read so far in the Legends race to the finish, because, well, if we save it until Christmas, we will have forgotten what some of these were about.
I already was having trouble remembering some of these.
That's the problem with binging. That's the problem. So you've got a 1-minute timer. I will cut you off even in the middle of the sentence. 1 minute to tell us your impressions of the first 5 books of your contest. Ready?
All right.
Go.
All right. My first book was Mercy Kill, and the little elevator pitch I have is getting the band back together as Wraith Squadron comes together for one final mission to track down a New Republic leader who is suspected of, and my notes are getting off the screen, of trying to defect from the Republic. My second book was Clone Wars No Prisoners. Anakin wants to make a private trip back to Coruscant. So he tasks Rex with trying to keep Ahsoka busy, and we can all assume how that ends up. Spoiler alert! In this one, we actually get to meet Callista in human form.
Oh, I
For those
forgot
of you,
that.
for those of you who are Legends readers, you will know
That's
what that
crazy.
means. Maul, my third book, which is my favorite so far, it was Maul Lockdown. Maul is sent to a Fight Club prison to track down a weapons dealer nobody can confirm exists. The catch: he's not allowed to use the Force the entire time he's in there. So that was a lot of fun. My fourth book I read was Choices of One. Mara Jade hunts down a traitor in the Empire with a little help from some do-good stormtroopers. Yes,
1 minute, time's up.
Oh, geez. And my fifth book was Scourge, a librarian Jedi who has never heard of anybody else in the Jedi Temple meets a Force-sensitive hut. I want to get that last little bit.
Force-sensitive hut.
A Force-sensitive hut.
Librarian
Jedi meets Force-sensitive hut. Go read it.
Oh, wow. I'm glad they pulled the plug on Legends. Just kidding. But I'm excited to read that one. It's on my list. That one is one of the only Legends books I've ever TBR'd. I started it on an airplane one time, and I was like, oh, what is happening? And I put it away, and that was 6 years ago.
Isn't that like a lot of Legends though? Like, whoa, what is happening?
Not for me. I mean, generally,
I know, not for you, but
Splinter
like,
the Mind's Eye is the one that happens the most on. You're just like, I can't do this.
Well, all right, Freddie, tell us what you've read. Is Splinter of the Mind's Eye one of them?
No, it's not one of them. I actually read this. So I have about 16 days of free reading time. So prepare for quite a hot take on several books. This week, or this time I didn't get a lot. Fatal Alliance I finished up, which is a very interesting book. Basically, the Cinzia, which is like a missing a droid engineer's missing plane, is discovered, and there's a bunch of mystery surrounding what this starship contains and why it's so important. The Hutts are starting to auction it off. Mandalorians are involved. There's AI enslavement and a bunch of other stuff. It's a crazy book. The Sith have to work with the Jedi. The Mandalorians have to work with everybody, and traitors of the Republic have to work with the Imperials and the Republic. It's an absolutely crazy book that you probably need to read twice.
So just to be clear, you're at a grand total of 1.
I did read this book, which has nothing to do with Legends, but it's George Lucas, A Life.
That looks great. I've not read that.
That's a chunky book right there.
Yeah, it's a chunky book, all right. And it's the life of George Lucas. It goes back to before Star Wars was a thing, right? So his first big movie, American Graffiti, and it talks about Indiana Jones. It's not a Star Wars book, but of course Star Wars is a big part of his life. Talks about his influences, his schooling, his mentors, everything that made George Lucas who he is. And it's really interesting to see that guy just go from like, hey, I'm actually really good at this movie thing. I've got an idea.
So is Rick sending you ideas for the Star Trek book now, or are we just gonna wait until January?
I did say I've got 16 days of free time coming up, so prepare to get demolished, fellas.
All right. I won't have any free time this week whatsoever. It will be remarkable to get to read like a single chapter of a Legends book. I am, however, through five so far, not counting the 2 that I read the 2 weeks before the contest began officially because I got excited, or all the books we've read for the podcast since then, which was the entire Darth Bane trilogy. But we're not counting those, or in Kenobi, not counting those, or the canon books that I've read. Let me be clear. I've read a lot of Star Wars this year because I finished my grad school and was like, a lot of time in my hands. Wow. Here's the 5 that I've read. Ready? Looking at the timer. Here we go. Tales from the New Republic. Honestly, massively disappointing in comparison to the 3 other Tales books that I had read. Tales in the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales from Jabba's Palace, which is my favorite of all the Tales books. Kind of a murder mystery. Oh man, it was so freaking good. The Story of the Rancor Keeper. All right, that's not even the book I'm talking about here. Anyway, this one has a good little story about Mara Jade. Story about what's the guy from the Thrawn trilogy? Garm Bel Iblis. There's the craziest story in the entirety of Star Wars in this thing. There's like a Star Wars, like a Jedi actor whose dad is kind of abusive, and they live on a beach, and they're acting out a play, but then there's a girlfriend. It is trippy. All right, this one. Here we go. Tales from the Empire. was also kind of similarly disappointing. Had the same editor. How about this used copy? Somebody check marked off a bunch of stories they wrote in this thing. That's disappointing. Anyway, it had a lot of the same kind of like continuing the same stories, and I'm already over on time. Dang it. I made it through 1.5.
Yeah, and you were mocking Tyler for making it through
Right. I was
3.
gonna say, like, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I'm like, you're 45 seconds into one book.
Tales from the Empire. It was okay.
I've got to say, Tyler, you did a great job with your
really did.
1-minute summaries there.
He did. There's a Thrawn story here. Oh, it's the Thrawn story where Thrawn is Boba Fett's in Boba Fett's armor. There's that one, which is absolutely the craziest thing in Legends. Ruins of Dantooine, got to give it a shout out, was way better than I expected. And as you heard it here, was it last week? 2 weeks ago? I officially called it The Legends Lost Stars. Mic drop.
Stop it.
You
no. I haven't even read it, but still, get out.
I'm serious.
This is the judge a book by a cover scenario. It's happened so many times to me.
Yes,
It really is.
it's impossible not to judge that book.
I'll be
by its cover.
absolutely fair. Like 100% of my opinion is based on that cover. Like,
Yeah.
I have ignored that book for 20 years because of that cover.
You and me both, Tyler.
I know, and I
used to play Star Wars Galaxies. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, that's right. You're the ultimate Star Wars Galaxies guy, and this is a book called Star Wars Galaxies: The Ruins of Dantooine. Most of the book is okay. The ending really comes together. It's got that little romantic twist, got a little bit of betrayal. You know what I'm saying? I really quite enjoyed it, especially because quite a few of these have been disappointing. Death Star, quite good, especially when I would play the Rogue One soundtrack on vinyl. You know, when I was listening to it. Like,
is that a hot recommendation? Because that's on my list of books to read.
I'm not going to act like it's a tier 1 Legends book or even a tier 2 Legends book.
Rogue One vinyl. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, for sure, man. That's excellent.
Take.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, okay, but Jared, even if he was asking for a book recommendation, don't tell him what's good. You got to play the game. Tell him what's bad, and then he'll have a hard time reading it.
I'm pretty
you
sure
want to know what's
all the
bad?
bad ones already.
Here we go. Maybe the worst Star Wars book I've ever read. Coming for you, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. The first book in the Lando Calrissian trilogy, Lando Calrissian and the Mind Harp of Sharu, was not just difficult to read, it was painful.
It has allowed me to catch up.
Hey, Chewbacca.
It was painful. Yeah, I would take 5 hours of Freddy doing his Lando Calrissian impression to ever having to finish the rest of this trilogy. May he rest in peace, L. Neil Smith. I'm not loving the trilogy. There's some great little things in it. The droid Vuffy Ra is good, but the writing style it's more of like I love the way Skooma Joe said it. It's more of like a 50s sci-fi serial than it is a Star Wars book.
Yeah, that's like at the very beginning of Star Wars, right? A lot of the books, and you can see it a little bit in Truce at Bakura as well. They go too hard into the sci-fi, forgetting that Star Wars is a fantasy.
This one makes Truce at Bakura look like it was written by George Lucas himself. I mean,
but I do want to come to the defense
hard into the sci-fi, man.
I do want to come to the defense of Legends books, though, in that one thing that I have noticed is they are into the action 25 pages in. Whereas canon books take basically the first third to really lay down a really thorough, complex setting and characters, and then the back half of the book. Mercy Kill, Mercy Kill. I think somebody was dying in 30 pages in the prologue of Mall Lockdown. He was killing somebody. Like, we are getting into the action.
Oh yeah, you want a book with zero character development? Literally zero. It's the Lando Calrissian trilogy.
Yeah,
it is
like
all plot. All plot.
And you could see they probably tried to copy the Star Wars style by having intense action right at the very beginning of the movie, right? Because in the very beginning of New Hope, you just see that thing come over, and you can see like how they try to carry that theme over into a lot of the older books with action right away, right into it, and you're just like, what? what is happening right now? So yeah, it's interesting how they tried to write Star Wars before, I guess, the story crew came in and really structured it.
Yeah,
back
and that's the
during
thing with
Valentine
like
days.
those old the old Lando books is they were in the dark times. They're from the early to mid 80s. So they're before Zahn, reignited, hey, this is what it's like to write a Star Wars story, which gives
Early
you
90s.
appreciation for that. And I'm grateful there's a Lando trilogy. Like he absolutely deserves a trilogy. I'm just not sure that it's this one. Anyway, that's my review.
Agreed.
I am enjoying the contest. I want to give a shout out to both Rick and Emily who are participating. Rick is doing decently, though I don't know his number off the top of my head. There's been a bit of debate because Rick's wanting to count some of the books that I'm not sure we should count. He's not
If
here
it's
tonight.
less than 5, it doesn't matter.
You know what's amazing? Emily wasn't even officially part of the contest because she was out that episode. You were filling in for her, which is why you were here.
Mm-hmm.
She's skunking us and has read 7 so far.
7.
That's okay. I can deal with that. I can, like, only being 2 books behind. That's not insurmountable. If you were telling me she was at like 13, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna read like Freddie and just not read any Legends books.
She's on a huge road trip right now, so we'll see if she's doing Star Wars audiobooks and at what speed she listens to them. Find out next week what number she's on. Couple Emma, you look like you want to say something about Legends. How many Legends books have you read so far this year?
None.
But
Emma, how many Legends books have you read in your lifetime?
See, this is like up for debate among people. By people. Wait, what episode? We were on the Living Force, Jared and I.
yeah.
And I just suddenly was like, wait, I can't remember if I've read the Thrawn trilogy. Like it's like 50-50 that I may or I know I read the first one,
Jury's
Heir
out.
to the
We don't
Empire,
know.
right? But the next two, I've read about 3 or 4 Legends books, which is
It's
kind
debatable.
of insane.
We don't know the actual number.
Yeah, given that, I mean, I was like producer for Legends Lookback for like, what was it, like 10
6 weeks?
or yeah, 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's where like half of my books came from. It's like round tables. So, anyways, it is.
Binged Kenobi in a day.
I binged Kenobi in a day. I did. Oh, I like to forget it, but Shadows of the Empire.
That's right. There we go. I can smell it from here.
Heir to the Empire. That's 3. Yeah, that's 3. I started Republic Commando, and then something like a canon book came out, and I just never picked it back up. But I think that's it.
Yeah, those I think
Still
you'd enjoy
still beating
those.
Freddie.
That's right.
Let's not
that's over,
forget
like,
that I
that's
have
over
like
my
maybe
lifetime, though.
No, none this year.
let's not
Kenobi.
forget I have maybe like 20 books in Legends left.
Same here.
Yeah.
I started this with 22 left. I
Yeah.
own half of them. I've read half of that half.
We're getting
So
there.
I'm getting close.
I'm
Listen.
on pace to finish, but somebody in the Discord did, however, talk to me about how there's a big fun event happening right now in the Power Rangers comics. They're leading up to issue 100, so I might be picking those up on my next
Do
day
it.
that I have to next. It's either that or the Lando books. I'm feeling like I'm gonna choose one or the other.
Listen, y'all. I'll read Legends when canon books and comics slow down, but they never will.
No, not acceptable. We will not settle for that. Not a chance.
Too
Now,
much happening.
I want to, Skooma Joe does say there is a moment in the Lando trilogy where Lando casually mentions that dinosaurs are extinct.
Wow.
That actually happens in this Star Wars book, which is
Love it. Yeah.
bonkers. That's right.
Got to
could
bring
tell
that
they were still-
realism.
They were still figuring it out. Now, here's what you're going to have to do. Tyler, now that you're reading Revan, I want to know how excited are you about the new wave of Essential Legends Collection books that were just announced. One of them, of course, being Fatal Alliance. No, and also Revan. So tell us what you
So
think.
as the reason this sort of falls in the same category as the Ruins of Dantooine is that I never played the Old Republic, so I was like, I feel like I can't get into these, and I've heard differently that they're actually better than you don't need to play the game.
The game
and I won't
enhances
I won't
enhances it,
lie,
but you don't need it.
the ELC cover definitely piqued my interest in causing me, because I think there's like 5 of them. If I include Knight Errant, if I include not Cross Current, Red Harvest. There's like 5 or 6 in that era. And that ELC cover coming out definitely piqued
really
my
cool.
interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
here
that.
it
Was
is.
a really, really cool
For
cover.
our audio listeners, showing it off on
That's
the screen
awesome.
now. This wave includes Revan, Deceived, and the Back Door. So looks like we're going to go through
It's exciting.
the Old Republic quadrilogy. What's the right word there? The quartet of books. There's 4 of them.
Epic.
I personally like the old Back to War cover more than this one. I mean, I like the theme that it's going for, because it really matches up well with the others.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
I love the space battles.
I agree, Tyler, 100%. If you look at even like Han Solo's command or Solo Command, I think it is. Even that cover is beautiful, and
With
and
the AT-AT, yeah, they're
yes.
flying around the AT-AT.
Isard's Revenge.
Yep.
Yeah, man, those are some beautiful covers. But you know what, Emily, this is a good time to point this out. If you've never read Legends books, and I know a lot of people say they're
confusing.
different, they're a different time. If you want to pick up any Legends book, you have no idea where to start. We've got a lot of lists on utini.com, but also check out these books that are coming out. The what is it? Essential Legends Collection.
Legends Collection, yeah.
Yeah, the Essential Legends Collection. There's a reason why they're coming out again. We all think they're great books. Check them out. They're honestly worth starting up on if you don't know where to start.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm glad.
Like
Go
the
ahead,
sad thing to me is that I own a lot of Legends books. I just like haven't had the time to get around to them, but I desperately want to, because I'm sitting here like, oh, these conversations are so interesting. I wish I knew what they were talking about, 'cause-
Comics drop all the time.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. There's a lot of like
audiobooks, too.
stories in here. Yeah, audiobooks. I mean, I think this is an interesting perspective as somebody that solely reads canon with like the very occasional legends sprinkled in. Like
I love
it's
it.
just interesting to hear that, other people's love for it, and it makes me very hungry to want to read them. And every time I come on this show, guys, I get inspired. Maybe this time will be the one that that kicks off my reading of
Good.
Legends.
Get Corey to buy you some of those ELCs.
There it is.
There you go. Put it on the
I am
company
excited.
card.
I'm excited to put these on the shelf. I'm excited to finish off the Rogue Squadron series. I'm anxious to see if they're going to do the Wraith Squadron books, which are phenomenal. I do think that Deceived is the best of the Old Republic books. However, I am going to admit, I don't want to be negative. I'm a little disappointed that they're going with the Old Republic books. I do not think they qualify in any form or fashion as essential Legends books.
I wonder if it has to do with the video game.
Do not need to read them.
re-release?
Do not need to read them in order to
No.
understand or appreciate anything else in all of
especially
Legends.
especially in comparison to some that have not been selected yet.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm a little disappointed
really
there, but
I mean,
I'd
do they
kinda
tie
just
into
like
the
to
video
see 'em-
games?
I kind
very
of like to see them
much?
do all the Legends books in this format, so I'm not complaining. Hear me very carefully there.
Yeah.
I do like the covers. No, these don't tie into any. Not Revan does. Revan's a sequel to-
Revan. I was gonna say I am 25 pages into Revan, and it is
Yeah.
already said the ending of Knights of the Old Republic 1. So and that's it. Like, I mean, great. Well, I haven't read the rest of the book, but I would imagine there might become some callbacks and things. But it is set after, I think it's 3 years after the events of Knights of the Old Republic.
Gotcha. Because kind of, I'm wondering if their reasoning has to do with the remake
Yeah.
of the video game coming. I don't know when it's coming soon. I guess.
I think the reason is money. You got Revan on
Probably.
the cover, and he's a very likable. He or
Yeah.
she, very likable
Yeah.
character. Yeah, it is a bridge between the first 2 KOTOR games and SWOTOR, right? So Star Wars: The Old Republic. It sets up that story. But we did a whole episode back in the day with Patrick. Remember that one, Freddie?
Oh yeah.
I remember that was the one episode I was frantically writing the summary up to the very second we went live.
That's right. I remember that. Wow.
Whew,
That was during
a
the time
whirlwind.
you were producing as well, right?
Yeah, that was a disaster for sure. For sure. You know what else is a disaster? The fact that Freddie hasn't finished Obi-Wan Kenobi. First of all, how
Haven't done
dare
it.
you?
I wish everybody could have seen our reactions.
And second of all,
Yeah.
how fun was it to watch with all of the crowd at your house?
Honestly, that's what I was really looking forward to, was seeing it with everybody, and I did. It was late at night. We were all
Late.
tired, but it was
Very
totally
late.
worth it. It was totally worth it. Unfortunately, I have not finished it yet. Currently doing some secret project right now that requires a lot of attention. And Jared has a tiny idea of what might be happening.
A
So
little bit.
yeah, very little.
Absolutely. I'm
But
very excited.
that is currently my obsession with Star Wars has been how do I bring this in real life?
I'll say the thing is, if you give Freddie time on his hands, he won't do what you expect him to do, but he will do something awesome.
I am so intrigued
So-
now. When Freddie, when abouts can we like hear about this for real? Now I'm intrigued.
I would say by the end of the year there will be some
Oh.
solid ideas of what's happening. Possibly
Oh.
even some sneak peeks into what could be happening next year.
Well,
let's just say
as
Interesting.
punishment,
Corey doesn't even know.
as
Oh.
punishment, I'm giving you a spoiler. I'm
Okay,
sorry to spoil. I'm
good.
sorry to spoil this for you. Vader lives. Just
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Tyler,
I'm
my
sorry.
goodness.
I'm
I'm gonna
you know what?
boot you off the stream.
You know what? I know. But you, in order to make sure those things don't surprise you, you really need to make sure you're watching new episodes. So I'm sorry to have to do that to you.
Yeah,
bummer.
I had to explain to somebody the other day at work who was like, "Wow, I don't know why we need this show. Everybody, we know that this character and this character and this character are alive by A New Hope." I'm like, you totally missed. How did you watch? You totally missed the entire point of the show. And I explained like it's about the journey, the character development, the trauma and the grief, and they were like, "Huh." I was like,
You know
"Yeah,
what?
well,
That's
if
only
you like that, I've got 3 Star Wars podcasts you can listen to."
That's a question that only a book reader can answer because we read book after book after book about characters that we already know what happens to them, but we eat this stuff up. So just ask a book reader that question. We'll give you like a whole TED talk on it.
I will ask you this, Freddie. You've only watched 3 episodes. Have you caught any of the Legends Easter eggs?
So there was one that we talked about. I didn't know it was an Easter egg until we said it out loud. But the name of the Jedi that you mentioned earlier, I did.
Jen Altus?
Yeah, I did see that episode. I didn't catch that Easter egg.
See one of the names written on the wall and like the Jedi
Quinlan
Underground
Voss
Railroad.
Yeah,
And
exactly. So
as
that
I
was
was
cool.
doing my research, I found out he is actually featured in exactly one Legends book, and it is one that Tyler has read this year.
Yes.
Clone
As
Wars
part
No
of the- yes.
Prisoners.
He is a mentor of sort of in of Callista, and lives a very different in Legends. He led a very different kind of a different Jedi Council. Like he wasn't shunned, he wasn't excommunicated. He just had a different ideas of how the Jedi could live, and he kind of went off and did his own thing. So
I
think
foresee
he's
it as
in-
kind of like he was like the hippie, the shared love and
that's
everything.
Not.
I was about to say, like leading
That's
a nudist
closer.
commune.
That's closer than you might realize.
No, that's really what I think. I've got a friend from growing up who lives on a nudist colony in California. And I think everybody in Arkansas thinks all of California is a nudist colony. Sorry, Freddie. But that really is what I thought about my buddy Brian as I was reading this. I was like, yeah, he is definitely living the hippie life. I don't remember. I guess we're going to actually have to have Emma finish the Republic Commando series. I think he's in those too, now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, I'll keep my eye out when I pick them back up for sure.
Yeah, I think he's in those, but I don't remember for sure. Very interesting. 2 more little Legends Easter eggs, at least that I've caught, and there could be more. I've not watched the Star Wars Explain 100, Easter eggs in Obi-Wan Kenobi yet. It's been my watch later for a week or two. I'm too busy reading this Lando book. One very big one, if you follow Mike Stackpole on Twitter, the name Corrin
Oh yeah.
is the name of the child who is rescued by Kumail Nanjiani in episode 2. All right, what are the implications? You got 1 minute on this. What are the implications of Corrin being canon? And do we need to get Corey on the call to help us out?
I was gonna say like we need to like summon Corey or something. Listen, what if this means I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole. Let's all follow me here. What if this means that because isn't Corrin Horn? He's in like the Rogue Squadron books, right?
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
one of the series that he is like a top tier B-list character in
Got
Legends.
my My
Oh,
Wedges
look at
Gamble
you.
poster signed by Mark Thompson. Thanks, my buddy Andrew, for getting this signed for me.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Okay,
there we go.
so we
That's
see
awesome.
Corin, just a kid named Corin, appear in a live action show. We've got a live action movie called Rogue Squadron
good point.
coming up. What if we follow this down and one of the, they might have like some original characters for the movie, but they might bring back some Legends characters. And what if Corin is
That's
one
right.
of them? Will Corey quit Star Wars?
Or we riot, or we absolutely riot. That's
Yeah.
right.
Quirg.
I could see that. I could see this being setting up the Rogue Squadron.
It still
thing.
fits. Yeah, it
makes
still
sense.
fits.
It does. It really does.
I don't particularly have high hopes, anything other than recognizing this as an Easter egg using the name, because it's already off in the timeline. Maybe it's not. I'm not the timeline guy. That's Trevor.
Well, I guess in reality, timeline doesn't matter anymore because we're in the multiverse, right? This is a totally different universe we're living in now for Star Wars. And Corin can fit wherever he pleases now, and they can bring him in whenever they want. So
Corin's
that's
the
really
only
neat.
character.
Galaxy 616.
He's the only character who could totally ruin the timeline and just be proud of himself for it, because the story's all about him.
I just want to see him rub his shirt with the Jedi pendant underneath.
The medallion. That's right.
Yeah.
We got a great comment from Justin here in the chat. He says they should call the sequel series about this character I, Jedi, 2. I, Jedi, 2. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then finally, one more Legends Easter egg. The planet Jabeam, which is featured quite heavily in the series, is originally from the old school Dark Horse Mainline Republic series.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, there's a great little Obi-Wan and Anakin mini series kind of story arc set on Jabeam, and it's one of the coolest stories in all of Legends comics. I don't remember much about it except for I really liked it. So you guys should cover it on your show.
Yeah, I know. We should talk about that, honestly. That might be a good, we try to get some Legends content in there every now and again, and that might be a good one to do a roundtable on if we're looking for some Legends content.
Totally. And one more thing here. This will replace our typical Legends lookout. We don't have a ton of time for it because we went long on it was all me, I'll be honest. My review of my Legends books and our Legends Race to the Finish. However, there's a Legends omnibus release that is the Star Wars, the Marvel. Why do these have such similar names? The Marvel Epic Collection, not to be confused with Essential Legends Collection. Tales of the Jedi Volume 2 came out. This sucker was mailed here this week, and it prompted this question from my wife. Hey, I thought you said you weren't going to buy any more Star Wars things this year after Star Wars Celebration, where you spent dollars. So anyway, I'm very happy. I was like, listen, I'll probably read this thing, 10 or 12 times in the next couple of years. I love these comics, and it's totally worth the $45 that I spent on it. Anyway, it is really nice to see Exar Kun's double-bladed lightsaber.
What she doesn't realize,
the color pages,
is that was pre-ordered before Star Wars Celebration. So technically, it was paid for prior to Celebration.
I did tell her that, and I would like to tell you that was convincing, but that would be a lie. That would be a lie. I was not so successful. Anyway, she left town for 3 days with her sister. No, it was already planned. They were already going to be going out of town. Anyway, I'm excited to have this. I do consider the Tales of the Jedi comics some of my absolute favorite Legend stories. Honestly, I'm going to have trouble finishing the show now that I've opened this thing up. You got the Masasi temples and this guy with his big teeth. I mean, there's so many good things in this series. So very excited. Everybody can check that out on utini.com. Click the Amazon link in the profile. You can grab your own $45 copy and give Utini a grand 4% of that sale to help us keep great shows like The Cosmic Force running. Guys, before we are out of time tonight, we're going to talk about the greatest Legends book covers in Star Wars history. Are you ready?
So ready. The conversation in Slack, there's already been, I literally typed, wait, is this real? So
yeah,
it's already
starting.
It's already starting.
Tell the good folks what it is specifically we're talking about. I asked everybody to give a pick of your favorite Legends cover and also an honorable mention, if you know what I'm saying, an honorable mention. And so Emma, just give us a taste here of what it is that sparked the debate and the fervor, the frenzy, shall we call it,
Yeah,
surrounding
absolutely.
this episode.
Okay, so I was looking through. This was difficult for me. Okay, we've already discussed, my lack of Legends reading. So this was a little bit difficult to me. I didn't have like a pick off the top of my head. So I went through the Utini timeline and just scrolled through the entire
Great way
thing.
to do it. Yeah.
And, I kept coming back to this one cover with Mara Jade. And I remember her from the time I read Heir to the Empire, so I did read it. And I thought she was super, super cool. And this cover was just insanely badass, and I love it.
Ooh,
Choices of
yeah.
one.
Choices
Yes,
of one,
choices of one. And, with
Y'all
the
want to know
Star
what I
Destroyer in the
told?
back. It's so insane.
You want to know what I told Emma? Freddie, you know what I told her the second that she said, my choice is choices of one. You want to guess what I said to her?
Go ahead, tell me. I have no idea. What could you have said?
Tyler, you got to guess?
What you see on the cover has nothing to do with what's actually in the
yeah,
book.
there you
That's
go.
not it, but it is cool. Yeah, all the stormtroopers behind her. She's wearing like body armor, got the purple lightsaber.
Yeah.
It is really cool.
And I like how she's not like, dressed skimpily. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Sure.
that's kind of the trend
She's
in
powerful.
Legends, right?
Yes,
Like she
for
can
sure.
be a badass and be covered. I like that.
Absolutely. I also appreciate modesty. There we go. All right. Here's the deal. This is not the original cover for Choices of One.
Oh, okay.
This
had no
is the paperback cover. I said, wait, which cover? And she said, what? It was like a deadpan record scratch when I said, which cover? You got the other cover up? The other cover, which I like to call the Amy Poehler cover. That's right.
Oh,
Tell me that's not Amy
right.
Poehler.
Do you want to
That's
know my
right.
response? I literally said, wait, is this real? It looks photoshopped, like badly though.
Okay, the best thing about this, other than the fact that it's clearly Amy Poehler giving Tina Fey a death stare for a bad joke, is the fact that there's 3 stormtroopers coming out from behind her, like in those dances, where everybody's all lined up one by one by one, and then they poke their heads out and they all fan out, and you never knew they were there in the first place. It looks like those stormtroopers are doing that dance number. You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
What is up there in the top right corner above the R? I feel like there's a dude up there too.
If we need a microphone, I almost said microfying glass. That's not a word.
That is one thing that is very common amongst all of these books is the covers are very busy. They are very busy.
Some of them, we're going to talk about a couple more minimalist covers tonight that people in the Discord, which you can get your picks in the Utini Legends Lookback Discord channel. A lot of great picks there we're going to talk about tonight, where folks, there were a couple that were a little bit more sparse that people picked. So we are going to get around to all of our picks. Do appreciate Emma's picks. I will agree that it was the right choice to pivot from the hardback to the paperback on Choices of One.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad that the paperback is the one on our timeline, because this one is just a shame.
Scuba Joe busting out his Legends trivia in the chat here says the Choices of One cover was made by the same guy who did the original Rule of Two cover, and I can't tell if that's a joke or if that's true.
Well, he
now
does
that I
say
said it
haha
out
at
loud.
the end.
Yeah, the haha,
I
that
don't
totally
know.
changes.
If it's a joke, this is like a 10 out of 10 joke, and I appreciate it.
It
Even
is
though I
absolutely.
haven't read either of these books, I still understand the joke, and it's great. Thank you, Skuma.
And I like the
man.
cover for the fact that I've never once second guessed it. And now that we've analyzed it, is all right. So I do, however, want to give a little bit of the backstory, a little bit of the history here on Star Wars book covers. Freddie, back in the old school days of Star Wars book covers, can you think of, a handful that are like especially notable in the early days to you that like are the defining Star Wars book covers?
Yeah, so if you look at Darksaber, Truce at Bakura, Children of the Jedi, a bunch of those early 90 books, they have the same theme, which is the characters and situations that happen in the book, right? So, example, we've got Courtship of Princess Leia right here. You can see we've got three characters along with a scene, right? And of course, in another book, we've got the
Fabio.
Rancor in the background. And and then Planet of the
another one
Twilight.
of that is of course a choice. What was that one you just held up there? Courtship. One of the Star Wars books that had a different cover on the paperback. That's right. It had a rancor on the paperback.
I actually have that picture if we want to show it.
Yeah, pause there
Okay.
for a second, Freddie.
Sure.
There it is. So they
There it is.
pivoted covers here too, both by Drew Struzan. That's where you're going with this. I just ruined your train of thought.
So no,
I like
that's
it's cool.
This is what to me is classic Star Wars books. It's kind of a serially looking sci-fi book that you would see like in a cheap, kind of like those love novels that you see walking through the Walgreens or CVS or whatever, right?
I mean, it's literally Fabio on the cover.
Yep. You've got Fabio on the cover, and then of course like Darksaber, same thing. You've got Han, Luke, and Leia, a TIE fighter exploding, and some other stuff, right? Probably the Darksaber. And that's what the original books were like. If you look at a lot of them during that time, it's going to be the same thing, where you've got kind of a drawing factor of like, okay, I know who these people are, because that's a lot of what Star Wars was back then. Hey, remember us? We've got a book if you want to read it, and that's what sold at that time. Star Wars was okay. It was still the Dark Ages, though. A lot of people were just like, oh, that was a fun little thing that happened in a blip of time, not knowing that it was going to be a lot bigger. So nowadays, if you see covers, they're a little bolder.
There's a pic from, trying to find exactly who it is in the Discord, who says their favorite series of Star Wars books, as far as the covers are concerned, is the Fate of the Jedi covers, which are also, they've got the cityscape, very minimalistic color scheme. You've got some great Legends characters there. You got some of those, Tyler?
I was going to call those out as a theme. Some of them worked better. I think the Abyss and Omen ones that featured Abyss had Leia on it worked better than like Vortex that had like the one with Han on it wasn't. But I liked the theme, that the universal theme that had, as well as two that I picked that had the same sort of thing going for it, was the Legacy of the Force series. Those books had a very, very cool theme to it, with a single character and a very intense pose on the front of it. But both of those definitely, when I was researching for this topic, both of those I wanted to call out.
And I would say, besides Fate of the Jedi and Legacy of the Force, which did hold to a very strict theme throughout the entire series, going back to Freddie's point here, these 90s Star Wars books had such a consistent style across them. And that's because the art on all of these is from Drew Struzan. Freddie, as our resident art aficionado that Thrawn would be proud of, what Drew is it Struzan, that is so legendary about Drew Struzan's art?
Drew Struzan. If you know who Drew Struzan is, if you don't, look him up. He's done a lot of work, but Drew Struzan is known particularly for his poster art, right? Like movie posters, which is why and you know what? It's funny because I was just thinking that, and Skooma Joe wrote it in the chat, but that's why his covers resemble that serially movie style poster, is because that's where Drew Struzan did most of his work, and that lent itself to the art that we see on our books nowadays.
Yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to the old school did most of the covers for the 90s books. I can't think of any from the 90s era, and I even did some research here that were not by Struzan, almost like he had the exclusive contract to do these, which creates some really consistent artwork. In the old school days, we also want to give a shout out to a couple of other artists. Tom Young, who did like the original Star Wars poster with Vader's helmet and buff Luke with the saber over his head, I'm talking about, right? With Leia's dress all slit up the side. He did the buff Sabayoth Heir to the Empire cover, and let's at least give this one its moment in the spotlight. It's 15 seconds of fame. Did see a comment in the chat earlier, somebody saying they want to know the backstory, like the Rocky IV training montage of Sabayoth doing prison push-ups to get buff like this, right?
I like to see Sabayoth in that Fight Club jail with
with Maul.
with Maul.
That would have been a fight.
Heir to the Empire has a lot of beautiful covers. It's definitely one of the favorite books, right? And you can see that cover art there. But I have to admit, I was looking at this best of book covers of Legends. I wanted to look at foreign art as well, because some of the foreign covers are absolutely beautiful. Especially, we talked about it last time, but like that Brazilian art is absolutely gorgeous for the Thrawn trilogy. Check that out. That's the cover of the first book.
I cannot
That's
tell you how
Luke.
many times I have made
I have
these
never
my
seen this before,
backgrounds on
and
my phone. Yeah.
I'm in love with
Emma,
this. This is awesome.
I'm not sure if you can post all three of them, but there's a scene with all three of
This
them.
one?
That's it right
They're
there.
beautiful.
Check it out.
That's right. All
Those
right.
are
So
the
our audio
covers.
listeners,
It's
these
amazing.
covers, they're sparse in the sense of like there's one dominant color. The first is orange, and it's Luke on that one planet where he's in the mob and he has to slide down the wall by gouging his lightsaber into the side and sliding down like he's in a roller coaster. Anyway, that second is Luke fighting shirtless
Sabayoth.
Sabayoth while
Yeah.
Mara Jade is on the floor looking helpless because the 90s. And then and then the bottom one is what? Just Thrawn sitting in a chair chilling with his Nogri and
Yeah,
Pelion.
Looking all
and
evil.
I'm not sure, but Luke or Sabayoth is entering the frame on the other side. Because for those who don't know, most book cover artists, they do like a large painting and
Right.
with a central theme. And of course, the book usually has to center in on just that central theme.
Now I will have
it-
to find the link
beautiful
for
art.
this, but there are prints of these by the original artist for sale currently.
Yeah.
Or at least they were like a month ago. It was right around the time of Celebration. I did not have the money. And have since sworn off spending money on
Yeah.
Star Wars. So I don't
Dug
know if
yourself a
I'm
hole there, Jared.
gonna do it or not, but these are for sale if folks want to get their hands on them. I definitely would love some. So let's track a black market deal, if you know what I'm saying. All right. Yeah, so Heir to the Empire, obviously want to give a shout out to Tom Young, one of the
Yeah, of
greats.
course.
And then Tyler, would you care to tell the folks what is so great about the cover of Splinter of the Mind's Eye?
So, Splinter of the Mind's Eye is it is very 70s style. I mean, this was, if I remember correctly, this was Empire Strikes Back before Empire Strikes Back, right? Like this was technically supposed to be the sequel.
Yeah.
So the story in and of itself is insane, but yeah, what is there to say about this cover other than it is a very unique cover in the history of Legends books. Because
as far as I know, this is the only cover ever designed by Ralph McQuarrie himself.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
There's been Ralph McQuarrie art featured on book covers since.
I would say this is the opposite of Ruins of Dantooine in terms of the content of the 100%. Book. And the...
Wes in the chat. Hell yeah, I have that one. It's covered in mold.
Perfect. It's covered in mold.
Love it.
Yeah, this is maybe one of the most iconic Legends book covers. And you know what?
It's a beautiful cover.
I might actually just look at the cover and put it right back on the shelf. That's right. But it's certainly important to read. And I really enjoyed having Heather on way back on episode 8 of Legends Look Back. That's right. Single digit.
That's an iconic episode. Yeah.
8 for sure. She was on one. Honestly, it was very tame for Heather. So shout out to Heather.
It's a good episode.
For sure. All right. So let's get on to let's feature one more artist briefly, and then we'll get on to our stupid game for the evening. And that is Dave Dorman. Freddie, tell the good folks about Dave Dorman. And Emma, I will try to tell you which book cover is by Dave Dorman. Lightsabers from Young Jedi Knights. Lightsabers. There we go.
Yeah, Dave Dorman has a very distinct style of art. I would say ventures more into kind of like 3D and a lot of shading. You see that in a lot of his books, but Jared, what other books has he? I mean, gosh, I can't even think of some, but I can think of all of them.
Primarily comics, and that's why it's fun to have
books.
our comics folks on the show. I know he did the Crimson Empire covers. Oh, the Dark Empire covers.
All the Dark Empire.
It is.
Oh,
Give me a second
can
there.
I show it? Can I show it?
Please do it. Here it comes.
Do it.
What are the good folks looking at here, Emma? Tell the good folks what it is you're
Naked
throwing up on
couples.
this.
Ooh.
No. Here we go.
For those that don't know, uh,
He did this.
Eric,
He did that.
this is all him. Eric and Freddie and Corey forced Emma into saying "Naked Palpatine" at the Utini panel
In front
I
of
did no
an
such thing.
audience of like over 100 people, and they
at
forced
Star
me
Wars
to,
Celebration.
to say
That's
it.
right.
With, by the way, these people probably have no idea about this inside joke, and they forced me to say the words "Naked Palpatine" at Star Wars Celebration into a microphone.
I'm so proud. I'm like a little
Yeah.
sweaty thinking about it because it's a
Jared
little
was
Dave-
the only one
uncomfortable.
clapping. Our video it's up on YouTube if you want to see it, and you can hear, yeah, it is Jared.
I gotta
so
check
funny.
that out. I felt like it got like an awkward chuckle when you were like, "He's naked."
You.
He's naked. Yeah, it got an awkward chuckle and one gigantic cheer.
Yeah.
For sure. I think the naked palp joke of it all aside, I think he is absolutely one of the greatest artists to ever put pen to paper in the galaxy far, far away.
Put slime to
Yeah, and the Dave
body.
Dorman
There it is. Yeah.
that Dave Dorman cover of the what is it? The Old Republic. Wait, who was it? The Old Republic, or what was it that we just bought recently with Dave Dorman's? There was two different styles of paintings, Dave Dorman and somebody else, and I went for the Dave Dorman because
That was the Old
it just
Republic
stands out.
Omnibus, right?
Okay, is it
Yeah.
that one that we bought, Old Republic Omnibus?
I think so.
With Dave Dorman's art on it. Yeah. Anyway, like Jared said, primarily comic books, Dark Empire. I'm looking at everything, and just to give some of Dave Dorman, I'm gonna say all of these, and you're gonna. This is everything Dave Dorman's done. He's worked on comic book art for Aliens, Batman, GI Joe. He's worked on several Magic card illustrations, Marvel, various Marvel comics, Star Wars, and there's a couple others, but I think those are some of the primary ones he's worked on. So definitely well known to a lot of different people.
Yeah, and this one, going back to lightsabers, this is one of my very favorite Star Wars book covers of all time, if not my number one. I think the color scheme is out of this world. It's so unique 90s. It's also a great plot, best of the Young Jedi Knights books. Some great trivia from Skooma Joe in the Discord channel talking about how they Anderson and Moesta had to go to bat to get the plot approved because it was a little bit mature for one of these young reader books. And folks don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it. You got to check it out.
Yeah.
I will say this much: the meat of the plot you will discover within the first 15-20 pages.
Wow.
And
We were talking about quick starts in Legends books earlier. This sounds like one of the quickest.
For sure. And I found out in the Discord, I love our community for this. This one, in perfect 90s fashion, had a holographic cover.
Oh yeah. Oof, man, those juicy what is it? It's the Goosebump spin-offs, the Galaxy of Fear books.
Yeah, they had holographic covers.
Open their mouths when you go like this.
Also,
For sure.
can I just point out, is that friggin' like Ariel right there? Like, who is this?
Oh, totally.
Excuse me. That is the princess of and heiress to the throne of Dathomir and Hapes, Princess Tenel Ka Jo. All right.
Is this the one that gets? There's like a joke about her, right?
I don't know.
She's
Happy? No, that's not.
Hapes, but it's Hapes, and I
Never
call
mind,
it
never mind, never
Hapes.
mind.
Shout out to Rogue
Hapes.
Podrin as they make that joke, and I really think it's a good one.
she's the same character that continues on well into
Very prominent Jedi.
Yeah, okay,
Return of the
okay.
Jedi
I was like-
it's very prominent.
very prominent character.
Very prominent. Yeah, for sure. So Dave Dorman and Drew Struzan, two of the most iconic Star Legends cover artists. We at least want to give them a shout out alongside Ralph McQuarrie and Tom Young. There is probably the four. If there was a Mount
Totally.
Rushmore of Legends artists, it might be them. So what I'd like to do is, Emma, you can just kind of flash through a random assortment of Legends covers. We're going to talk about them briefly, describe them a little bit for our audio listeners, go through all the ones we have not yet discussed. I want everybody in the chat and the four of us. I'm organizing this game on the spot because I didn't have time earlier this week. Here's what we're going to do. Can you give your pick, your guess on what was each one of our favorite book cover, each one of our honorable mentions, and Yeah, that's the game. So everybody guess which one did we select as our very favorite, and then which one did we select as our favorite in a different way. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. Be
All right.
careful what you wish for. I've got 42 images.
Let's go. Here it comes. The Hall of Fame of, and some of these are just notable for
Yeah.
other reasons.
Right.
Didn't Rick upload some? I mean, I have no idea who uploaded anything.
I feel like I saw him in the Slack channel, so that he
Okay.
uploaded some.
Oh yeah. Here we go. So also Emily and Rick, their picks
Okay.
are included as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can
Okay.
you can vote on theirs. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. It's been a big week.
I'm gonna go in like a semi-random order, but I want to start with the one that had. Y'all, I started like dying over here last
Okay.
night as I was putting these in. This one is called someone, I don't know who put this in. It's called Qui-Gon Jesus. And it's this.
Who would possibly name it that? I don't know.
Oh, Jared, is that you, buddy?
It's not my pick. It's not my honorable mention. It is one, however, I felt like we needed to show off on the show.
It's important.
Tyler, is that you?
No. I was late to the party and I didn't submit mine to this morning,
Okay.
so I'm not even sure if Emma grabbed mine.
You could just
I
claim
did grab yours
some.
too.
Okay,
that's
good.
good.
Okay.
So this is one of the Jedi Apprentice books. These have some bonkers covers. This one included, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, I love it.
I don't remember
Yeah.
what the Mark of the Crown is in the book, but I do know that I love these books. They're really good.
You know that meme of like really old people that put up a picture of Ewan McGregor's mullet
Oh, yeah.
Obi-Wan as a picture of Jesus because they think it's Jesus? Like this should be that, honestly.
Yeah.
I want to see like 20 cups in front of him that he just turned into wine
Yes.
right here.
I do love.
That's the
Rick
plot of
is
the
in
book.
Rick is in the chat and says the Mark of the Crown sounds like a Left Behind book, and he is 1000% correct.
or like a Casting Crown song. Yeah, for sure. All right.
All
Moving
right.
along.
Next cover, we have Star Wars Union. And I've
Okay,
never
what
heard
a
this
cover.
book.
It's a comic.
This
So you
is I would
guys
say this is a
Oh,
comic.
It's a comic. It's a
Gonna have to
comic.
cover it on the Cosmic Force. Tyler, tell her what it is.
I have not read too much of the Legends comics, so I
I'm a little
unfortunately
scared based
cannot
on the cover
can-
here.
I cannot tell you too many details other than that is I believe that unless there's another story in comics that I have not read, that is Mara Jade and Luke there on the cover.
Correct.
So
What are they wearing? And what are they surrounded by?
So weddings apparently in the Star Wars universe are very realist, are very similar to weddings here in our
They're
present
the
day.
exact same. You would
Yeah.
never know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke is wearing a tux. Mara is wearing a very 90s wedding dress. And
Very
they're
90s
hair.
surrounded by like 3 dozen roses, which really gives
And stained
this
glass. Don't
quite
forget
the-
the stained glass.
the stained glass. It gives it quite the aesthetic.
All the details are there. It's important. It's important to have a nice
I
wedding.
love this
And then
cover.
and I love how like right under, them in their wedding attire, they're ready for battle. But she's kind of wearing like a fancy kind of something. You can tell that she's like maybe this was her reception dress, maybe. Like
You stole the words out of my mouth.
yeah. She was ready. She's got a fancy cape. She's got a nice. It kind of looks like a dress, honestly, but to be fair, it is small on my screen. And she's got her fancy gloves, so she's ready to go still.
That's how you know if you got the gloves. The gloves are on. Therefore, it's time for battle.
Yes.
I we got a comment from Rick in the chat. I can't stop staring at mullet Luke. Please
Yeah.
tell me this is an attempt at Star Wars romance. No, the story's really not that romantic. It's just kind of a wacky Legends adventure. Believe it or not, the wedding is interrupted by some Legends note. What's the word I'm looking for? People doing no good. I don't know.
Tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery. Perfect. Some Legends tomfoolery. Very good, Emma. Saving the day. And don't remember if this is true or not. Once again, has stumped me, Skooma Joe, really with his sarcasm tonight. I have no idea if he's curious. Says, all you need to know about Union is that Tommy Lee Jones and Bruce Willis show up to Luke and Mara's wedding.
What?
They may be the ones doing the tomfoolery. So-
Oh, my word.
Moving along.
Okay, moving
have-
along, we have. Speaking of gloves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder whose pick this could be.
I don't know.
I actually, we don't have to go to that one, but I picked another one that contains the cover of every single Truce Bakura in all the foreign countries that it was released in.
Whoa.
They're all
Okay.
about the same, I would say. I'm not even sure if we need to show it. Just
I-
the Truce Bakura is written in a different language.
Quick scan. Quick
I
scan.
did include another copy of Truce Bakura because it is, to me, the most infuriating Legends cover of all time. The
It
fact that
is.
the paperback, they blur out the coolest thing about this cover, which is the handshake. The glove
It's really a
is,
cool image.
Oh, the glove is so cool. And
The detail.
it is so detailed. And
I'm not
instead
seeing
there's a little sticker that says, this is a all new novel set after Return of the Jedi,
Oh,
and
I
they
found it.
blur out the it is atrocious.
Yeah. Hey, you remember that Luke and Leia?
Yeah, so here's
Yeah.
all the different covers, all these with handshakes.
Some of them are
All these
darker
with
than
handshakes.
others. One of them's
Yep.
like washed out in red. Wow.
Yeah.
These are like all
different
basically
text.
the same.
Exactly.
Freddie's in search of every single foreign cover. Every
Freddie,
single
why?
one.
They're all the same. Save your money.
You know, I've been trying to find the one that's just different. That it is like some special release that was only released like 10 copies or 5 copies, and currently it's all the handshake, which is cool. I mean, it's the best book cover with a handshake that I actually want to look at. So
Great, but weird thing to say.
Gotcha.
Moving on. Moving on.
Gotcha.
Truce Bakura, cool cover.
Okay, speaking
especially
of
with the
recent
handshake.
releases, Tales of the Jedi.
There we go.
Yes.
Perfect. Love
Yes.
that one.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, we already did Splinter of the Mind's Eye. All right, next up is Shatterpoint.
ooh.
From the Essential
From the-
Legends
yes.
collection.
Not
So-
the Depa Balaba Death Stare one.
we,
right.
but again, that is also another common, that the old Shatterpoint cover is also a common theme of
Death Stares?
of that era. There's a lot of books that came out that had just
Clone
a
Wars.
very busy cover with random people's faces on it. I think it was The Approaching Storm was also one that had a cover
Check
that
this
looked
version out. don't know if you
Deadpan
can see
stare
that.
of Darth Maul Shadowhunter.
You've got
Yes.
a lot
Right.
going on, right? Like there's
Oh yeah.
Is that a
It's-
it's a
pun?
little
'Cause
more
that's Lot
busy
Dot.
than
Yeah.
so
the
you've
original
got
ones.
Jedi Trial is also one that is very similar to this, where you've got Anakin front and center, and you've got a bunch of characters kind of faded in the background.
And they're not drawings. It's almost
No.
like they're clipped and they're just like it's a collage.
The Cestus Deception is another one that fits that
Oh,
profile.
sure enough, I never
So
noticed this.
Yeah,
There
it's
are
For
true.
the
bunch-
comics people to draw attention to the
There
visual
are
medium.
a bunch
Yeah,
of
right.
ones that seem to have been like the theme of the time, which is like, just put a couple of characters on there, and we'll put this guy front and center, and we'll fade this one in the back to make it look real creepy, and
Yeah.
throw in this random character, and people will wonder who that is, and then boom, that's your cover.
I never
mean-
noticed
I would say it was like the
this.
Clone Wars. The Clone Wars era of publishing did that a lot, I would say.
Yes.
It wasn't very creative.
Well, listen, I literally had this one up. The Approaching Storm.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, come on. Like, okay, clearly Luminara's supposed to be the villain, right? I mean, y'all.
With her
look at-
piercing blue eyes.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
Make it
Zoom in on the
stop.
mullet, not on that. Oh my goodness! Wow,
Yes,
Wow,
a
what a
lot of
we're getting
these.
close. I can't look
Let's
at it.
see. According to the Utini list, this was released in 2002. Where did the Shatterpoint was?
03?
Shatterpoint was 2003. So
Yes.
all of these covers are all in that same era. The Cestus Deception was 2004. This is a very common theme in
Oh,
that
so
that time frame.
interesting.
This
Yeah,
could
they're
be
not
the
very-
same artist. I'm feeling.
You'll notice a majority of those books are on the unread section in my in my list.
You have
'Cause I've
bias
judged
against
them
this
by their
cover. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
I mean, but Jared, you also bring attention. Like these are literally promotional photos of
Yeah.
Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like, yeah, it's yeah.
Oops.
Okay, next one we have Rogue Squadron, the OG.
So this
Oh,
is a
yeah.
classic.
cover.
I would
mean,
say every
ahead,
single
you-
one of these covers, every single one of the Rogue Squadron covers or X-Wing covers are pretty fantastic, and I feel like they get better. They get better
Yes.
as they get older, right? Maybe the stories aren't as good, as some of the other ones. But I would say, like, for instance, Solo Command I said it already, has a beautiful cover. Go ahead, Tyler. I know you had some
when you're 10 to 12 years old, and you see this on the cover, like, you're gonna pick this up. I mean, you've got space battles, you've got ships exploding, you've got,
and you're looking at all the explosions to see what exploded. Oh, it's TIE Fighter.
Right. I mean, again, not to take anything away from the ELC and their minimalist sort of design. Those are outstanding in their own way, but this is just nostalgia all over again, because I've said this a dozen times and I'll say it again. This book right here is what got me into Star Wars reading, and it's because of this cover. And because it's like, crazy. I'm, like I said, I'm a preteen teenager, and it's like, I want to read this. This looks awesome. This looks exciting. We didn't have Star Wars. This was our Star Wars. So
I'm so much more of the Drew Struzan camp. I don't love this cover. Wow, I love that we can have different opinions on what we appreciate in a Star Wars book cover. I never noticed any of those 2000s Clone Wars covers as odd until tonight, for example.
Justin in the chat points out, up at the top, it might be a little hard to see, book 1 in the exciting new series. That's like so much fun. Yeah.
Exciting.
I believe it even says, I believe it goes on, like, even into like book 6 of this exciting. I think they eventually dropped the new, but yes, it definitely continues to say book 1, book 2, book 5, book 7. Yes.
But these don't have any characters on them. Not a single one. I mean, all the other 90s covers feature original trilogy characters. And
I'm glad they didn't too. I'm glad they put,
it's a bold choice,
because these books are about space combat and being a pilot.
And they're new characters. I mean, you have Wedge Antilles, and you've got a couple of the other generals. You've got, but you don't have Luke featured very heavily. You don't have Leia featured very heavily. You don't have Han featured, I don't think, at all. Like, these are new characters so I can kind of understand why they wouldn't put characters.
This was
on
also during an era when George had a very tight hold on publishing still. And if there's one thing George appreciates, it is fresh, original artwork. And for a lot of these book covers, I want to say for a couple of them, he does have the original art for a lot of his paintings for these books. That's pretty cool, man. I would love to get my hand on some Drew Struzan art.
We're gonna run out of time. All right, lightning round us through the rest of these bad boys.
I absolutely did not mean to do this, but here's some more ghost faces.
Great,
so
good.
Yes.
Jedi Apprentice: The Rising Storm.
Yes, and then next one. Oh my word, this one freaked me out. Red Harvest.
Ooh, Red Harvest.
Jeez Louise. Like,
so is this the hardback cover? Because
yes.
This is one of my on my list. Yes, with the fist coming out of the snow with a lightsaber.
Yes, this one.
Yes.
There it is.
It's like the zombie hand.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
That's
we
awesome.
have a comic here, the New Republic Omnibus. This
Ooh,
one
that's nice.
is cinematic.
Yeah, this was supposed to go in Legends Lookout, and we missed it. This is coming out soon. We'll talk about it in another episode.
Okay, cool.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I've seen this. This is nice.
Oh my god, another face, y'all.
Jedi Apprentice.
Oh,
the captive temple.
Now my question is,
Puppet Yoda from the Phantom Menace.
Puppet Yoda or Yaddle? Because it definitely kind of looks like Yaddle there.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I'm
sure it's
100% Yaddle.
I think it's Yaddle. The eyes are too close, right?
I think y'all haven't spent enough time with the original VHS of Attack of the Phantom Menace, where they had the puppet Yoda before they went in and CGI'd him. Y'all know this? Like, he was originally a puppet, and then they went in and they fixed him because it was rough.
Not great.
Very good.
Yeah. Justin in the chat, Puppet Yoda isn't real. He can't hurt you.
George scrubbed him from our memory like the holiday special.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
moving along.
All right.
I would say otherwise, a very good cover. If they had just scrapped
I would say so too.
Yoda, I think it's a perfect cover.
Literally just scrap Yoda, and it's like,
make Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like 20% bigger.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. We basically can't have a Legends show without talking about iJedi, right?
Ooh.
There's a good one.
Maybe Aunt Beru in the back.
Burn. Oh my god.
So
I like to call him Farrah
you've got to
Fawcett
fill in the
Luke.
backstory of that comment.
Yeah, Farrah Fawcett Luke there.
Yeah, so the cover of iJedi, there's a Luke, what looks like Luke, who doesn't quite look like Luke at the same time, and might look like Aunt Beru. It's like
Oh,
a
you weren't
hybrid.
joking.
I believe it was Rick in the Slack said, I thought this was Baru.
Yeah, Rick for the longest time did not know that this was Luke Skywalker, and he assumed it was just some other character in the book, maybe Aunt Beru or
Thought Beru had
something
like
else.
a secret Jedi backstory.
Yeah.
I do really like the cover because it is so different than anything else. Love the color scheme, the gold and the green,
ships in the back are great.
black. It is really cool, though. Yeah, the Luke is questionable. Okay, and everything about Corin Horn is also questionable. However, not necessarily this post. He's looking totally normal here. However,
Oh, that's
he
Corin
looks-
Horn.
he's looking He's like
Maybe.
he's skeptical, very questionable.
Yeah. Okay, you know who he looks like? He looks like Chancellor Valorum, like Loki.
For sure.
Okay.
Okay.
That.
Next one, we have the glove of Darth Vader with Vader's glove right there.
Is that Trioculus over there?
I see 3 eyes, and by the name Trioculus, I would assume that's what you're talking about.
You see the space whales and the lightning.
I'm sorry.
This is
so good.
Space whales?
There's space
You
whales
see
on
them?
here. You see
Yes,
them?
I see them now. I didn't notice that at first. Oh, is it like the Purrgil? Is that like
No.
Oh,
You know
they're
what they're actually
different,
called?
space
You know
whales.
what they're really called?
Oh,
What?
do it, Jared.
Whalodons.
Wow. So creative. The creativity.
This is a
pouring
Drew
out of these
Struzan.
people.
This
For
is a
those who
Struzan.
didn't see this live, Jared just ripped off his glasses, looked straight at the camera, and happily said "Whalodons."
The
It's
only
like
one of the
mashing up the
Jedi
name
Prince books
whale
I've
with
read.
like a
but-
dinosaur or something like that.
I want to see this in your next tattoo, Jared, with a nice, pick a vehicle and put this cover inside of it.
I will legitimately consider that. All right. Maybe just the whale with the lightning bolt. Though the glove
go.
is so cool. All right. Now, he did all 6 of these covers for the Jedi Prince series, Struzan did, and they are phenomenal.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Whew, I got amped with that one. Lightning bolt's about to shoot out from the back of me. All right. For the sake of time, run us through a lightning bolt to
Yes.
round
got really
through us,
lightning
the
round
rest of
this.
these. Yes, for sure.
Okay. Vernestra Rowe in a different life? Question mark.
Jedi Apprentice, the Deadly Hunter. There's a
I'm
bounty
sorry, I
hunter
just made a
with a
canon
light
reference
whip.
on your show. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. Just do whatever you want.
these
love the light whip.
these classic books always had the
Like the most insane cover.
like it wasn't clip art, but like before Photoshop became legit, like that's what it looked like. It looked like it was just like, let's just slap a couple images down, like put them here, and that kind of makes sense. And all right, let's ship it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I like to
Yep.
consider that this was designed inside PlayStation 1. Okay.
That's how they
That's-
all look. That's how
That's
they
a
all
perfect
look.
comment. Speaking of more Jedi Apprentice, here we go. Who is this
No,
person
this
in the
one's
background?
not too bad. This one's not too bad.
Like
His
Another
name is
Death Stare.
Xanatos. He was Qui-Gon's.
Oh,
All right.
Zan-
I'm going to get on
I
my...
remember him from the Last of the Jedi. Oh, that counts
Yeah.
as Legends. I
I'm
read
getting...
all of those when I was a kid.
That's 10 Legends books. Your number
you
just
go.
climbed into the double digits.
It did.
All right. Xanatos is Qui-Gon's Legends failed apprentice who preceded Obi-Wan. And man, I love it. He looks like he's got ringworm on his face. It's a great cover.
I know we already talked about this a tiny bit earlier, but it deserves a mention. Like a nice, clear mention.
Ruins
This
of Dantooine.
Lyrics
is
of
literally
Dantooine.
a snippet of the video game. This
Yes.
is exactly what it looks like.
Love it.
And I know we don't do negative, and I know that the cover does not reflect the contents of the book, but this is the worst cover.
I don't think anyone's gonna argue with you.
Well,
No. I understand.
It doesn't do it. Like
It's so
Looking
It
back,
doesn't do the book justice.
especially
No.
I know that Jared is somewhat joking, but not all joking when he says that it's a Buddha book. I'm actually even more upset with the cover because that means the cover doesn't do it justice. And it legit, I have legit ignored this book because of this cover.
That's the problem.
I'm disappointed that I've missed a legit story then because of how this looks.
See, that's the thing, right? I personally love / dislike this cover because it's just a fun cover to make fun of. And no disrespect to the person who set these up in game. But it's doing a disservice because those who did not play Star Wars Galaxies, right? They just see Star Wars Galaxies, okay, the Ruins of Dantooine. It's almost like a second level kind of book when the content in it is readable and it's worthy. People like myself who are big fans of Star Wars are not going to read this. There's a lot of covers I didn't read because it's just like I don't want to read Cessa's Deception. I can't take it seriously. It's just clip art.
Skooma in the chat says, I'm desperately hoping that the ELC for Ruins of Dantooine upgrades the graphics from PS1 to PS2 and nothing more.
Well, I was happy to learn that it was actually, an enjoyable read for the most part. All right. For the sake of time, let's go ahead and get our guesses in. Our guesses. Freddie, I'm going to guess your pick is Teresa Bakura, and your questionable pick was, I don't know, maybe Red Harvest. How about you guys? Any picks around the? Go ahead and get your picks in before we reveal.
I think Courtship was his questionable one.
Okay.
I have to go. Yeah, I would say I'm actually going to say that the Brazilian Thrawns were your favorites.
That's a good pick.
And your questionable was Union.
To be honest, do you want to know what my questionable choice was?
Yeah.
Was the fact that Trusa Bakura had the same cover in all countries.
Oh.
I mean,
okay.
Fair.
We got some guesses coming in the chat. Justin guesses that Ruins of Dantooine is my questionable, is my honorable mention, is what we're calling them. Our honorable mention. It is not. I'm not supposed to reveal. Y'all get your guesses in. Guesses in.
I was actually assuming the same thing that Ruins of Dantooine was yours, but
it's too it's too on the nose.
I'm gonna say your actual one is this is gonna be shot in the dark. Splinter of the Mind's Eye, just because I felt like you were hyping it earlier, and your questionable one, I don't really have a guess for that, to be honest.
Astute listeners of the show will know that I have declared 2 or 3 different books at different points in the show's history as having the greatest book cover of all time.
Only one best smeller, though.
Yeah, that's right. Tyler, your pick?
My pick for you?
Yeah.
I have lost track of everything of all the covers. So I'm going to say Shatterpoint and Choices of One.
No, wrong on both fronts. If we can show my favorite cover, it is it Glove of Darth Vader.
Oh, Glove of Darth Vader. Oh, interesting.
My favorite Star Wars book cover of all time. It looks more like a heavy metal album than it does.
And yet you don't like the original Rogue Squadron cover. I don't.
I don't hate it. But it can't compare to this. Look at that thing. There's lightning and the lightning, space whales, and Trioculus with his extra eye on his face, and Leia has this look on her face.
I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. I'm laughing at the chat.
The funny part is Han also looks like he's about to shoot Luke.
Yeah, he looks like angry, like really angry.
I've never noticed that. The glove with the lightning behind it actually would make a great tattoo. It really would.
Jared, this is good.
On my hand.
I love it.
The entire
but Vader
hand.
doesn't shoot lightning. Lightning. What am I talking about? Yeah, he doesn't use the force lightning.
The lightning is just for the aesthetic. It's just for the vibes. All right.
The vibes.
And okay, so and then my questionable pick was Jedi Apprentice: The Captive Temple.
Oh, okay.
With Puppet Yoda. That's right.
Oh, that's right.
So
yeah, we showed that one. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do Emily and any guesses for Emily and Rick? I know what theirs are,
honorable...
so I can't guess.
Okay. I'm gonna say Rick's honorable mention is what is that one? Qui-Gon Jesus.
That has to be his. Yeah.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon
Mark
Jesus.
of the Crown.
Yeah.
Mark of the Crown. Okay.
And Rogue,
what do you guys
Rogue
think
Squadron
about?
is his favorite.
I was gonna say
right?
Rogue Squadron. Yeah, Rogue Squadron for his favorite. Yep.
Yes, his pick was Rogue Squadron, and his goofy choice, his honorable mention, is I Jedi. Is I Jedi?
Oh, okay.
And thought Luke was a girl. That comment with the cringe
Oh, yeah,
face
that's right.
emoji.
Oh, that's where that came from. Okay.
And then Emily, you guys want to guess Emily's? Mita just revealed them.
I'm gonna say courtship as the questionable one, but other than that, I don't have a guess for the other one.
Has
Okay.
Emily
Yeah,
read
I don't
Courtship?
have any guesses.
Yes, I think she did recently.
Okay. Let's see. That's a good question. Emily liked Courtship and disliked one of the Jedi Apprentice covers.
I'm gonna
There's
say
many.
I'm gonna say Emily liked Dark Empire.
Okay.
Okay.
Which Dark
Emily's-
Empire?
Emily's pick was, she's not here to defend herself. Don't you besmirch her. All right. Her favorite cool cover is the Shatterpoint ELC, and I did have to clarify which Shatterpoint, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The ELC or the Depa Billaba.
You probably had to
Deadpan
say which
Stare.
one like multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then her honorable mention is Star Wars Union. So I appreciate that
Gotcha.
our female co-host, the one who pointed out that the 90s wedding cover was questionable.
Yeah, I appreciate
I love
that.
it.
Okay, who's not gone yet? Emma, Tyler?
I think we've actually mentioned both of mine, or I know we already called out choices of one, but
yeah.
that was my like for real one. But I don't
Your
think
favorite
we've
one.
done my questionable one.
I think I've looked at everybody's answers. I don't know that I know yours. And now you're right. All the covers are blurring together in my mind.
I know.
I'm going
We-
to say The Approaching Storm. We did highlight that.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
Yes!
I just love
Nice, Jared.
like the photos, that are clearly photoshopped in there, and then the Luminara just lurking in the background. It's so goofy, y'all. It's just goofy.
Yeah. The Death Stare lurk in the back.
Yeah.
I was thinking, which one of these 40 book covers did I personally not upload?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And Tyler, so Rick's was Rogue Squadron. You liked
Technically,
it.
we didn't show my favorite one.
Okay.
And I know
So
yours,
grand
so I will not
finale.
guess.
Grand finale. Let's okay.
Shadows
Freddie,
of Mindor.
I talked about it, but we did not. We haven't shown the covers yet.
Darth Bane Rule of Two, the original cover.
No,
I did see a Reddit comment this week of somebody saying that was their favorite Legends book cover, and here's why. And I quote: Bane and Xana really jump off the cover to confront the reader.
Confront
Very sophisticated.
the PlayStation 1 gamer. Got it.
Okay, Freddie, we want to guess Tyler's?
We didn't
Watto,
cover
the back of the
back
cover
of
of
Phantom Menace.
this one right here. This one right
No,
here. I don't know
I'm
if
not
you can go to that
Charles.
single. Let's see.
Pull it into frame, Freddie.
There it is. Let me bring it out.
Yep.
Not knock over every other book. There we go. Oh,
Watto, perfect.
Oh, there he is.
Knight Errant. Somebody guessed Knight Errant. Was it you?
no, not that one. Emma, do you have it queued up? Because, like I said, we haven't shown this. We haven't shown this.
Well,
one
you
yet.
uploaded two. I'm not sure which one is your favorite. So
Either
lead
one.
me in.
Either one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Oh, you
Bloodlines.
actually picked the right one. I
good,
just
good, good. Okay.
I loved just
Yeah.
the seriousness. Again, when I was younger and I was judging a book by its cover, what books like these were just really cool looking books.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Boba Fett looks like a badass here. I cannot wait to read what is going on here. So, and all of these books, all of the Legacy of the Force books had some of them worked better than others. This one and Betrayal were my two favorite. But yeah, these are some classic covers for me.
Emma,
Good
as
covers, Tyler. Wow, I love
as
it.
the originator of Hot Dog Boba Fett, the meme from Dark
Yes.
Empire, do you know what I call the cover of Bloodlines? I'll
Is
give
it
you a hint.
Hamburger
It's
Boba Fett?
no, but it's similar.
Corn dog.
I call this cover Christmas Boba Fett.
Christmas
Because
Boba Fett.
It's the color scheme is just red and green.
I love that, and I think it's perfect. It's the
Thank you.
perfect companion to Hot Dog Boba Fett. I think Hot Dog, like on Christmas, Boba Fett celebrates by eating Christmas hot dogs.
Oh,
That's
gross!
what he does.
I imagine
Dressed
the kids
with,
put
This was-
hot dogs
Instead of
on
a
the
nice
tree.
Christmas
Yeah.
ham, it's just some hot dogs.
This is my favorite. Bloodlines is my favorite Boba Fett story.
Hey, it's in my top 10 favorite Legends
Yeah.
books. All right.
Yeah.
Me and Tyler, let me give you a fist
I'm a
bump
big
down
fan.
there, buddy.
Yeah,
Nope,
fist bump
I
to
just punched
everybody.
Freddie in the face. And down. I tried. All right. All right. Want to give a shout out to our amazing community who all pitched in with their favorite Legends book covers. We don't have them all queued up. I will at least give as many shouts out as I can. And buckle up, there are a lot. Diligent Sloth says he really loves the Knight Errant cover. Very simple but memorable. Nukem says Coruscant Knights, specifically Jedi Twilight. So that's a good pick there. Wow, it's a crazy cover. Y'all got to look that one up. Bro Dameron says, do I get anything for being the first person to say Ruins of Dantooine? Which would have been funnier if we hadn't already made the joke a few times tonight. Sorry, bro. All right. Who else we got? Jedi Murphy says lightsabers from Young Jedi Knights. That one is one of my, top 5 picks for sure. That's one of the ones I have previously declared on the show as the best cover in the history of Legends.
We didn't show it, but Shadows of Mindor is also probably one of the top 10.
Oh, I feel like I have that right here actually.
This is one I haven't read yet. Luke,
it's
in
a
his
beautiful
jumpsuit.
cover, man.
There's an
It's so
explosion
cool.
behind him. He's got old trusty green.
There's actually the back cover to Shadows of Mindor has man, I can't remember who it is. I think we have the back of that.
Is it this one?
There it is.
Yeah, he's the villain.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at those lightsabers. My God.
Look at that. Look at those X-Wings.
Oh man. Every time.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening
Are those
here.
like Death Troopers or something?
Speaking of busyness, Tyler.
Shadow Troopers.
Shadow Troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. 2020 says Imperial Commando 501st. Of the color scheme,
Very
writing,
good pick. Very good pick.
tagline on the cover makes the commandos look really awesome.
Yeah,
Timothy, Taco Tim says, can I count the Fate of the Jedi scheme? Because those books are fire. Also Shadow Games, because it makes me think I'm about to watch one of the classic Harrison Ford political thrillers I grew up with, which that book is nothing like that whatsoever. It's Dash Rendar being a bodyguard for Space Britney Spears. It's very fun. Diligent Sloth posts Young Jedi Knights Lyrics World, which is Anakin and Tahiri in Wilrow Hood orange jumpsuits fighting a big snake. Skooma Joe also shows a cover of the Japanese. Oh my gosh, this is bonkers. The Japanese cover of Traitor has Verger's big old plume of purple and pink hair. Wow, this is nuts.
That's awesome.
Okay. Some good Bothans on there. Diligent Sloth describes it as a banger of a cover. Very true.
Love it. Yeah.
Tyler also says, oh, no, that was you. And you said Scourge was good. Okay, not cover. Rocky Zim says the Darth Maul lockdown cover, the chains holding him, very scary and powerful. Awesome. And see if I've missed anything else. Shadows of the Empire is Michael Skinnex's his pick.
Michael, my guy, we gotta talk.
he says content aside, the cover is
fair
very
enough.
cool.
Michael, I retract my statement.
Michael, we gotta talk. Oh my gosh. Okay, anything else I've missed here? I do appreciate everybody chiming in. Admiral Akbar says also loves the Rebel Dream Japanese New Jedi Order cover. It's got some Lando on there. Ayla Sakura. No, it's not, but it's a Twi'lek Jedi. You got Jaina Solo in a jumpsuit. Wedge.
Yeah.
No, what is it you always say? You say Biggs. I got
Biggs.
the name wrong. There it is. Yeah. All right. Some great picks from our community. All right. Any last minute picks? Surfer Eddie, the Republic Jabeam battle cover. Very good one. And then also the Rebel Dawn Drew Struzan cover. Whew, a lot of good picks from the community, don't you think, guys?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
lot of beautiful covers.
So here we go. Emma, close us out by telling the good folks what's coming up next week on the Cosmic Force.
Absolutely. So next week it's going to be pretty Legends heavy actually, because we are talking about Mandalorians in comics. Originally, this was supposed to be timed out around the release of the first issue of the Mandalorian adaptation, so we thought it would be a good time to talk about it. It got delayed, but we're still talking about it anyways, so it's gonna be fun.
This is the way. That's all I have to say about
Absolutely.
that. And next week on Let's Look Back, Freddie, tell the good folks what's going to happen.
Well, I closed my show notes, so I have no idea where we're at.
That's appropriate because we are not going to have a live show next week. We've closed the
There
show
you go.
notes and we will be back the week after. We're taking off the 4th of July week. We are, however, Freddie, going to push the supercut extended version of our thrift store adventure. Are you excited?
Ooh, yes. That's exciting. I
It
can't
really
wait.
is. And then we're going to jump back in the week after that with our Star Tours crossover events. We'll see a little bit more of Tyler and Emma. Guys, thanks for joining us. It's been a blast having you on the show.
Thanks for having us. This was
Always
a
a fun time.
And that does it for this week. Thanks for joining us for Legends Look Back. Thanks especially to our incredible patrons for your support. Special thank you to the Jedi High Council, Brian Dooley, Earl Q, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander. I should have had Tyler read this. He does such a good job with it on his show.
You do.
Again, to give a shout out also to the Alliance High Command, Elizabeth Cloutier, and Sally and Chris Eilerson. Remember, everybody, to sub to the channel and leave us a review in your podcast platform of choice. That helps the show do great things like form megazords and shoot laser beams out of its eyes. If you would like your thoughts read on the show, you can, of course, get in contact with us in a variety of ways. One, at the Legends Look Back email address, which is legendslookback@utini.com, which I totally will check as soon as the show is over. You can send us a message in the Legends Look Back Discord channel. You can leave a message, a comment on this episode on YouTube. That's what those are called. Or you can find us on Twitter. I am at Jared Q. Mays. Freddie.
At Wake Up Freddy.
Tyler.
At Ty Rags.
Didn't warn you about that one. And Emma.
At Irma Jedi 26.
Or, of course, you can contact the show at Legends Look Back, where we're retweeting and commenting on every single thing that happens on the internet related to Star Wars Legends. If you see something cool, give us a little tweet and let us know what's up. If you're looking to buy some of the books that we've talked about tonight, such as the 42 covers that we showed off in this episode, something like that, you can, of course, go on over to utini.com, click on the book profile, then the Amazon link in the profile, spend those credits, send us 4%. It helps us keep the lights on. And of course, after you've read the book, especially those books that you judge by their cover back in the 90s, hey, you can then leave us a review after that and let us know what you think. And remember, when you do, be a force for positivity in the fandom and keep that Utini fan code if you know what's good for you. May the force be with you.